The subway rattled beneath the city like an ancient serpent, carrying its cargo of weary commuters from station to station. Amidst the usual cacophony of the metallic screeches and announcements echoing through the tunnels, Sarah sat with her headphones on, trying to drown out the noise with her favorite playlist. Her day had been long and tiresome. The solace of music offered a brief respite from the clamor of her thoughts as she stared blankly out the window. Yet, something peculiar registered in her mind, a presence she had not noticed among the crowded carriage. It was subtle at first, a feeling of being watched that prickled at the back of her neck. She dismissed it, attributing it to general paranoia. It wasn't until the train stopped, briefly pausing at East 34th Street, that she felt a soft tap on her shoulder. Hesitantly, she removed her headphones and turned around. A man stood there, nondescript, with an air of apathy about him. His clothes were nothing remarkable, just a slightly worn coat and a gray scarf that partially hid his face in the cool spring breeze. What stood out the most was the way his eyes seemed to search hers intently. "Sarah," he whispered, almost too softly to hear over the ambient noise. "Sarah, is that really you?" Startled, Sarah recoiled slightly, pulling back from the way his words seemed to cling to the air. "Excuse me," she responded, a mix of confusion and mild anxiety coloring her tone. "You don't remember me, do you?" the stranger asked, a ghost of a smile flickering across his lips. The confidence in his voice made her question her own memory. He spoke as though they had shared something significant, yet Sarah was certain she had never laid eyes on him before. "I'm sorry," she replied, trying to muster politeness. "I think you have me confused with someone else." He chuckled lightly, not maliciously, but with an odd kindness. "Perhaps. Or maybe it's just been quite a while. You look just the same, though." The train jerked as it started moving again, pulling her farther away from an unnecessary encounter. But the man, ever composed, seemed unfazed by the shifting momentum. His words lingered in the air as he moved to sit in the seat opposite her. Sarah's heartbeat thrummed in her ears. Who was this man, and why did he claim to know her? She searched her mind for any forgotten correlation, any lost detail from her life before this moment. Yet, nothing surfaced. The subway car continued its rhythmic journey, and Sarah stole glances at the stranger, who remained composed and serene. As the train arrived at her stop, she stood hesitantly, unsure whether to confront him with her curiosity or to leave the mystery unsolved. The stranger looked up at her with an expectant gaze, his soft smile remaining. "Have a good evening, Sarah," he said, as she shuffled towards the exit. This time, his use of her name was less shocking, more a gentle acknowledgement of some shared understanding she was not a part of. The doors closed behind her with a pneumatic sigh, separating her from whatever strange past or future his words insinuated. She left the station, feeling the man's gaze upon her, but now with a small spark of intrigue mingling with her initial unease. Was this merely a case of mistaken identity? Or did it hint at something deeper, perhaps a forgotten part of her own history reaching out in the form of a nameless stranger in the anonymous sprawl of the city? The mystery lingered with her as she walked home, casting long shadows in the fading light of the evening.